Hey, so I wanted to make a video today. I've been thinking about it for a while, just about what it's kind of been like studying Vedic astrology at the university that I'm at right now in Delhi. It's known as Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. I always struggle with pronouncing that, but it's basically Indian knowledge house when you translate it into English. When I first came to India, I, of course, had in the back of my mind that I wanted to study astrology. I had no idea where, and I had actually initially thought I would be moving to Mumbai. But, after doing some more research and just looking at my options, I just decided that that was, it was accredited. The program itself was really developed by K.N. Rao, who is a very esteemed astrologer in India. So, I went through just my options and decided that was where I wanted to go. So that process in terms of like applying was actually pretty easy at the end of the day. I mean, there was just a little bit of kind of convincing them to accept me. As a foreigner, there was, a little concern regarding my visa and stuff like that, because it is technically like a 2-year program. And, if you want to extend beyond that to do research, that's also an option. So it becomes 3 years actually. And I do think that's something I want to do as well. But I just wanted to kind of, for anyone watching this or anyone curious, just giving some more insights into what it's been like. So as it is right now, I go to school Saturdays and Sundays, mostly in the afternoon. It's like 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. around there. And so my first semester, which I just completed, that went from basically July to end of November. It was it was a lot. I learned a lot. It was a little challenging, honestly, because some of my professors last semester would really quickly slip into Hindi. Even though I am taking my courses in English, they offer English and Hindi for the in-person classes, or offline classes as they call them. They also have an online program or version of it. So, but I knew I definitely didn't want to go down that path. I hate learning online. So, I live here in Delhi, and then I commute to school on Saturdays and Sundays, basically. So I mean, I had I would say like 5 professors altogether, and they do kind of switch up like who teaches on what days, and some teachers will kind of share the subjects and so forth. But last semester I had a pretty intense like mathematics course, learning how to calculate the ascendant in Vedic astrology, and just like some other stuff, which I honestly really, really value. And I'm glad that I had that experience, as challenging as it is. I have never really loved math. I think up through kind of algebra, whatever, it makes sense. Calculus, I really didn't like. Pre-cal, I hated. So I definitely have needed to overcome some of my math phobia stuff by taking that course. But as I say, it gave me like a really deeper appreciation for astrology in general. I think it's really unfortunate that it's honestly so easy to calculate charts these days, because there just really is something that makes it so much more meaningful and gives you such a deeper sense of appreciation for astrology when you actually go through the process of calculating a chart and placing everything. So as I said, even though I didn't like it, I am glad that I went through that. And other things that I was, we did get a little bit into like the mythology of astrology, right? It is, the Vedic system is very tied to Hinduism. So having that understanding and knowledge is kind of essential. I would say it does give you a better understanding of, why planets kind of operate and their meanings. And I would say, like, as a foreigner, and again, I'm not Hindu, I've been really trying to learn more about Hinduism since moving to India, and there's definitely some, gods and goddesses that I totally love and resonate with. But yeah, that was definitely a process, just learning all that stuff. And yeah, just, a lot of other stuff, just learning the basics of Vedic astrology. It is such a, advanced subject. There is so much to learn. It's like you just barely scratch the surface, and then there's like more things you learn that you don't know and so forth. So, and then on top of that, of course, even though the course is taught in English, they really do stress that you should be learning, the Sanskrit names of things and signs, and on top of that, the Hindi translations as well, right? Just because it is so, practiced in India. So, in order to do my work to the best of my ability, I'm obviously going to need to really double down and master that a little bit better. So yeah, it was a very intense, 4 or 5 months there where I was really studying a lot, learning a lot. At the end of that, basically at the end of every semester, they give a 3-hour exam, and I'm so proud of myself. I passed, and I did honestly pretty well, looking at how everyone performed in my class. And, again, considering that I am a foreigner, right, there's just some of that stuff that, like, I feel like I was a little bit disadvantaged, not knowing. So, and on top of that, this is just a personal thing. I had my notes from the semester stolen about 3 weeks before the exam. So I basically had to like rewrite, and just, all my note cards that I had made and been studying for the semester, I had to redo. And it was one of the worst things that could have happened before, that exam. But as I said, I prevailed. And, the exam itself, they will basically have people come in, they assign you a desk basically with a number that you write on the exam, and then they give you a couple pieces of paper so you can do calculations or just, write down anything you've memorized. And then I think there are around 80 questions or so, and to total about 100 points for the exam. And, it was 3 hours. It was intense. I needed every single minute of those 3 hours to complete the exam, and just, feel solid and like I gave it my best attempt. But, I think I'm glad that I'm in it. The course and the university itself is, it's been very enlightening, I would say. I mean, comparing it to universities and so forth in the United States, I really love, I think that, Indian students in general tend to really revere and respect the professors a lot more than American students do, which I like to see. Some of my professors are really intent on having us, say mantras and kind of, a little just thanks to Saraswati. It's kind of the goddess of learning in Hinduism. So, that's been interesting too. And again, I don't know the Hindi to be able to do it really with the class. I mean, sometimes they'll write it on the board and we'll say it before we start classes. So sometimes I'll struggle and try to attempt it myself. But, it's a really interesting class too. Like I would say in my class, there's around 40 students. A lot of students will not come to class and they'll just kind of ask other people to share notes over WhatsApp. Like we'll have a WhatsApp thread going, which is nice. And it's, I think over the couple months that we've been in the class together, we've really bonded, which is cute. And I would say one of my best friends in my class is, an older woman, which I love. And but you have to be at least 24 years old to enroll in the course, which is interesting to me, but I kind of love that because and they really do stress that you shouldn't take it thinking of it as like a hobby course. That's what I think a lot of people who initially signed up thought it would be, like, oh, it's learning astrology, whatever. But it's intense. Like it's not something that you can really take lightly. And there are a number of students who've already kind of dropped out because they've found it to be quite challenging. And I think that's honestly good because it just shows that the people who are really invested in it and wanting to, strive to do their best work are, there still. So I am grateful that I've kind of made it to this point so far. There's so much that I'm still kind of processing and learning. And this semester, which I just recently started, we've had about 2 weekends of courses, and it's a lot heavier focus on kind of like predictive stuff and really drilling down into like marriage and children aspects of Vedic astrology, which, I mean, obviously it's so important, and it's like basically why most people consult astrologers, especially in India, but for me, and I've always said this, like throughout all of the readings I've ever given and stuff like that, like I honestly hate that aspect of astrology when it becomes so like obsessed with predicting dates. And I don't know, like I think that's actually very low vibrational astrology, but it's kind of like a necessary part of the whole subject, I guess. So I'm kind of taking it in stride. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't really want to make this too long, but I did just want to share some of my initial thoughts and experience being in the course. As I say, I feel very lucky and grateful to kind of be having this experience, because there's, nowhere else in the world really where you can go to a university and like have this kind of experience and have professors who really take it very seriously. And I respect them so much. Like they're just intelligent, and the things that they have me thinking about, you just can't replicate that kind of experience. Definitely not in the United States, I would say, right? Obviously, because it is just such like a cultural thing too. And so I'm really glad that everything aligned for me to kind of, as I say, have this experience. And I just really hope I can continue to, share with other people who are curious. And I don't know, my long life goal will be to bring much more respect and understanding, and I don't know, just like doing a better job of kind of creating checks and balances for the science, much like psychology or any other science. If we don't if we don't ensure that we're doing that and that we're taking it seriously, and I don't know, like in terms of granting people who deserve to be practicing astrology, certification, and that they have the rights to do it, then it's kind of like it is going to get down that path of being more scammy and all of that stuff, which I know is already an issue in India. There's just nothing in place currently that really decides who is able to practice or not. It's kind of just like, are you good? So I don't know, but I think it's really important, and like I said, I'm really glad that I did this. It's definitely been a sacrifice in a lot of ways, of course, but I don't have any regrets so far. So yeah, I just wanted to share some initial thoughts. I'll probably post more videos in the future. But yeah, it's been a very interesting experience for sure. So yeah, but anyone watching this, if you have any questions just regarding my experience or anything else, please don't hesitate to share. And thanks for watching. Bye.